James Steele Jr.,
Good morning.
Martin Charlo, Len Two Teeth, Lenny Strahan.
Tom, would you give us a prayer this morning?
Creator, I want to thank you for this day, all the blessings you've given us, our resources, our land and our water, our animals, our livelihoods, and our health. We pray for all those that have lost loved ones and those that are ill. We also pray for all those that put themselves in harm's way or provide services for our people, that you watch over them. We pray for all those that are traveling, they travel safely. We pray for your guidance today. Give us good decision making. Give us all the information that we need to look forward for our people. Do all this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Tom. We do have minutes from March 17th.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Jamie.
I just wanted it to note that when we left when we adjourned to go to the SKH housing meeting,
Yeah, the meeting was it a good one all afternoon?
it was.
Danny?
Do we have to accept their annual report today?
Yeah, I think that's appropriate.
Okay.
Motion by Len to approve the March 17th minutes with corrections. Second by Danielle. All in favor? Got 6-4 and I abstain. Do we have an agenda for today? Any additions to the agenda? We do have a handful of walk-in. Oh. Yeah, 5. And I'll save my trip report for next week. Motion by Tom to accept the agenda with additions. Second by Danielle. All in favor? We're unanimous. We'll go to our first walk-in. That's Jacinda and Shelley. Good morning.
Hesquex Pesia. Thank you for putting us on the agenda this morning. We're here briefly to talk about a project that the Arley community is interested in applying for. It's called the Community Heart and Soul Project, and it's administered by the Montana Community Foundation. How this came about was Jacinda and I met with Mary Shanahan, and we talked about fire, ambulance, water, sewer, schools, housing, all those things. And one of the things we realized was we don't know a lot of our neighbors. We've had a lot of newcomers into the Jocko Valley since COVID, especially, but all along, people have been moving to Arlee because they can commute to Missoula for work or they can remote work. So we researched what Sealy Lake did and in this community planning process. And we thought this might be something to pursue. So the letter of interest is basically due tomorrow. And I'll let Jacinda take it from here, why we're here today.
Yeah, thank you, Shelley. Good morning, Council. So today, one of the questions that's asked of our community is to get some buy-in from our local governments. And, Shelley and I are a small piece of our local state government. I feel like that's very lucky that we're both there from Arlee, but we are hoping to get it's not a commitment to support or anything. It's just a general supportive statement that our tribal council thinks that Arlee could do this. And we really just need like yep, that sounds like a good idea. We're we're supportive because it's a very simple question. Are you supportive of this of us applying for this grant effort?
And I'll just add to that, Mary Stranahan was going to reach out to both Lake County and Missoula County commissioners for their verbal support. And one of the questions, how I see it is, sorry, my phone's ringing, is who lives, works, and plays in our community. And so some of the things I think where maybe tribal resources might be involved is, for example, with like recreation permits, people might not know about that, or, the irrigation project, those kind of things. So we might need support from the tribe as far as, our resource professionals coming in, addressing the group. If so, this letter of intent basically allows us to some resources to work from April through August. And then after that process is completed, then we would actually compete for a 2-year planning process. So are there any questions?
Questions, anybody? Just consensus, I'm sure, for at least the letter supporting them. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, thank you. Boy, thank you for bringing this forward because, you think of the Arlee Valley as a bedroom community to Missoula, and you think about the need for this community planning and engagement to really protect what your values are and the sense of place of the area and our resources there. So I applaud the effort that Sealy did. And I think that every politician, as far as county commissioners, love planning that's brought forward to them from the majority of the constituents in that particular area. So I don't see you'll run into too many problems there. But I certainly support this effort and appreciate Mary's involvement and you too. So thank you.
Other questions? Jacinda, do you have a model letter?
We don't need anything that serious right now, maybe for the second phase. Right now, it's just, do you have indication from your local government that they're supportive?
You're looking for a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Is there any objection to giving them a thumbs up? You'll get our thumbs up. Thank you this morning.
Lims. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you all.
Go ahead, Lynn.
I also had one issue I wanted to put on the agenda.
Jimmy Ray, come on up. Morning.
Oh, there we go. All right, now you can hear me. Okay, the reason I'm here today is yesterday there was a financial training for a lot of the employees on new Sage software, and my phone started lighting up like, hey, there's supposed to be an RFP out there for this project, and I haven't seen it. Melinda at I'm on the Indian preference list, Melinda would have contacted me if it was public. So I'm wondering why it isn't public, because this is basically 100% of what I do is go in and implement software for tribes, set them up, and get them ready for, when I'm finished. So, yeah, that was my first question. And then I got a couple more things to add, but.
Go ahead, Len.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. Yeah, Jimmy, thanks for coming in, bringing this to our attention. We weren't aware on that scope of work, 'cause we've never had it in the past, so we didn't know.
Yeah.
But now that we do, I'm not sure of what we can do at this point in time, if we're able to backtrack and put our RFP out there for you to give you that opportunity. But yeah, I wasn't aware that you were providing those kind of services.
Yeah, and from my understanding, it's still open until the 28th.
Till the 28th?
Yeah, so that kind of gives me plenty of time to write something if I could actually see the RFP and provide.
Okay, and I see Greg in the audience. Greg, you'd be able to get an RFP out to Jimmy for this scope of work.
And another part of it, of me being up here and kind of looking over all the slide decks, and something that will come up with this type of big project like this, and there's another organization in the tribe that's going to have another type of situation where they're implementing software. So you're probably going to need to hire some people that are like product managers, product owners, where they manage this software, because it's not an actual IT thing. Everyone hears software, they think, oh, this has got to be IT's thing. But IT kind of just manages everything in the back end, and the product manager, product owner will manage the software, because they're the ones that have to talk. Well, even with the Sage, there's 12 departments. So they have to be able to talk to those 12 departments and IT and kind of have that integrated knowledge. So something to think about in the future when this whole Sage thing is finished, and it looks like it wants to roll out next February, but there's going to have to be someone to take that position. And it's kind of the hot subject in tech right now is product owners, product managers. A lot of organizations, larger ones, kind of like this one, realize that, IT can't handle everything. There's got to be someone that just handles the software and the managing the people and the software at the same time. So this is something to be aware of in the future. So, and that's about all I have. So,
Greg, did you have something to say?
Mr. O'Neill, right?
Yep.
I'm happy to provide that for you. We worked off of the existing IPO list. The one that we got had your name on it. The RFP went out on March 5th, and the IPO list that we got updated that had your information on it was dated March 10th. So the oversight,
yeah,
we did our due diligence internally. We will certainly follow council's direction and make that available. I just want to be open with you about what our data looked like at the time.
okay. Yeah, I understood that. But I was thinking maybe that was the case, but I wasn't sure, because Melinda, there was a couple that Melinda already had on the books, and she's like, hey, try this. And I'm like, that's not me. But this one is definitely me. So, okay. Sounds great. All right. Thank you.
Good to see you this morning.
Yep.
Thank
Nice
you.
to see you.
Can we go into executive?
We'll go out of regular into executive. Morning, Whisper.
Good morning. Would you like me to start?
We can go ahead.
Okay, thank
Beth,
you very
in a
much.
second.
We're on page 2 today. I'm here to ask for formal council action on accepting a U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service employee as the official seat to the Flathead Reservation Fish and Wildlife Board. I'm gonna go down to page 3. And per the state tribal cooperative agreement, we have a 7-person board that is set up to oversee non-member regulations for fishing and bird hunting on the reservation. There are 3 state members, state appointed members, 3 tribal appointed members, and then 1 U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service current employee that is listed in that agreement. Dean Vaughn was our previous representative, and he sat on the board for 18 years. He resigned last year as he left the service to retire. And so we had been trying to figure out how to get a new employee on from the Fish and Wildlife Service. So I worked with the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, who are our cooperators on the board. We came up with a list of nominees and a little process to try to get somebody on that board. We sent out 4 invitations for Fish and Wildlife Service staff that were recommended by our technical staff, and Dean had provided some recommendations. 2 of them declined the position, mostly due to workload, and Taylor Lipscomb accepted the nomination. If the tribal council approves this person to sit, it also is with the governor's office, and they also have to approve this person for the board in order for that person to be able to be on the board. They currently have that in their house, and they're working their way through the system, and so I'm bringing him to us today. We think that he would be a good representative and would be excited to get him in place. Our next meeting is April 1st, so we're hoping to get him there if the governor's office and if the council approves of his position.
Motion by Greg to move forward with the nomination, second by Tom. All in favor? We're unanimous.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you, Whisper. Is Holly available? Where'd Jen go? Is Michelle available? Come on up, Michelle. Good morning.
Mr. Chair, we might ask to, well, we will ask to go into executive just in case there's any questions. The resolution part isn't controversial, but if there's any questions that require answers that talk about.
You want to present the resolution first, or you want to go into executive for
I
questions?
think we go into executive just to.
Okay, we'll go out of regular into executive.
Okay, based on the consent requirements and collaboration requirements of the BEAD and NTIA BEAD funding, we'd ask you to take action and vote for a resolution giving consent for Blackfoot Telecommunications to do their operations under the BEAD funding within this area.
Got a motion by Greg to approve the resolution. I saw the thumb move. Oh, second by James Steele. All in favor? We're unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
very much.
Welcome back. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome.
Peskext Kisuk Whitnam, thank you for seeing us today. I'd like to introduce Sandra Beal, and she has a really long title that I'm not even going to try.
All right. Hello? Yes, okay. All right, well, thank you everyone for being here, and good afternoon. I almost said good morning. Guess that's how fast the day is moving along or how slow, I'm not really quite sure. Well, thank you again for the opportunity to be here. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the CSKT Tribal Council, the Tribal Education Department, as well as the Montana Board of Public Education and all of our school leaders. So before us, we have a lot of different people. A lot of them are from the Montana Board of Public Education. And of course, we'll do a question and answer as we go so that we can have a good discussion and conversation. But mostly today is about shared responsibility, working together to support those student successes. I'm honored to share some of the great things happening in Ronan School District and to highlight the strong partnership we have with CSKT Tribal Education Department, and especially as it relates to consultation, collaboration, and shared decision-making. The Ronan School District serves approximately 1,500 students with a significant Native American population. I had Camille, our superintendent secretary, run the numbers just now, and we're at floating around 68.3% of our student body is Native American. And this just isn't a statistics, it's a responsibility. It means our systems, decisions, partnerships must reflect the voices, needs, and priorities of our community we serve. Collaboration is part of our work and our partnership. In Ronan, it's not just a one-time event, it's ongoing, which is why I have Michelle on speed dial. We regularly engage with tribal education, parent committees, and families on an ongoing basis. The input directly guides our programs, support, and decisions. Our goal is simple: to ensure Native American voices are not just heard, but are part of the decision-making process. Student success and engagement. We are seeing strong progress in student engagement and participation. At the high school level, over half of our students are participating in activities are Native American. We see a strong representation across athletics, clubs, and leadership programs. Programs like Native American Club, Honor Society, career-focused organizations show that students are not only participating, but also leading. That tells us students are feeling more connected, valued, and engaged in their school experience. Attendance continues to be a major focus and a shared responsibility. Our data shows average daily attendance reaching close to 90% across schools, which is a strong improvement since COVID, and we're all working together. We know that attendance impacts everything from reading proficiency to graduation. This is an area where collaboration and partnership matter deeply because improving attendance takes coordination between schools, family, and community support systems. And we are seeing that work make a difference. We are expanding opportunities to students in meaningful ways. Students are accessing dual enrollment, career technical education, and advancement coursework. And importantly, we are seeing strong Native American participation in culturally relevant courses. This reflects both academic progress and cultural connection. Cultural integration. Through collaboration with CSKT, we review curriculum and materials. We ensure cultural accuracy and respect. We provide professional development for staff. One example of this was our recent curriculum review process. where we work closely with tribal education to evaluate materials and make improvement. That work even brought outside attention to our district, showing that what we were doing here matters. When a CEO of a company worth 500 million shows up at your doorstep and he came in and visited with you, that's impactful. And so we are trying to be very cultural relevant with the curriculum we choose and making those adaptations when we see. Partnership. Boy, we do a lot together, don't we? Our partnership with CSKT Tribal Education is foundational to this work. We couldn't do it without. Through programs like Title VI, JOM, all the professional development we do, we are able to support students academically, culturally, and socially. But beyond programs, the partnership is built on daily collaboration, communication, responsiveness, and absolutely shared decision-making. When challenges arise, we work through them together. You can see the partnership in action across our schools. Together, we support student mentoring and advocacy, cultural programming and field experience, mental health initiatives like Character Strong, Signs of Suicide to bring awareness, and now Tribal Health Mobile Unit and walk-in opportunities to meet with therapists for our students and even our teachers is starting to take place. Our district also provides a wide range of supports, including after-school programs and tutoring, college and career readiness programs, family community support services. These support systems are stronger because they are informed by collaboration and partnership, which also brings accountability. It means we listen, we reflect, and we adjust our programs based on feedback from tribal partners and families. This is ongoing work, and we are committed to continuing to improve. As we look ahead, our focus remains on strengthening partnership, expanding opportunities, and improving outcomes for all students, and continuing to ensure that Native voices are a part of the decision that impact Native students. At the end of the day, the partnership means something very simple, but also very powerful. It means our students are seen, it means they are supported, and it means they have the opportunity to succeed both academically and culturally. We are proud of the progress we have made, and we're even more excited about where we are going. As we look ahead, I am also honored to step into the role of superintendent for the Ronan School District this coming July, and I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to continuing this partnership with all of you. And with that, I'd like to transition to the charter school director, who will share more about the important work happening with our charter school and how it connects to our shared effort to support students. And so just some history here. Last year, the Public Board of Education approved our application for the charter. Mr. Johnston and I have spoke a couple different times to the Tribal Council regarding that. And so we are in our first year. And so we're really excited about the opportunity. And so Josh Illig is going to give you a little bit more information about that. And so thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Beal. Like Ms. Beal said, my name is Josh Illig. I'm the director of the Ronan Charter Academy. First and foremost, thank you to you all for allowing us to come in and take some of your time this morning. Very kind of you. So really, like Ms. Beal said, this charter school idea started floating around. We came up with some lofty goals and some pretty specific goals. One of those being to provide some flexible learning opportunities for our students. Not all of our students are built to be within our four walls for 7.5, 8 hours a day. Students suffer from things like anxiety. Some students have jobs. Some students have travel plans with their families. There are a lot of different situations that arise where students and parents have been asking us for years, especially since COVID, can my kids stay home and still complete this curriculum, still graduate, all that kind of stuff. Until this charter program, we did not have those opportunities, and now we do, and we are offering students to learn from home completely remotely. We also allow students to mix and match that. Them and their families can actually choose which classes they would like to take within our four walls. Sometimes that looks like core classes and they take their electives online at home. Other times it looks like just taking things that garner their interests, electives, woodshop or art or things like that, the things that they want to be in school for. So many of our students in the charter program are taking advantage of that opportunity. We also had a strong focus on career and technical education. making sure that our students are ready for the workplace or more ready for the workplace when they leave our school district. At this point right now, we do have some online career and technical education classes going on. We're also very fortunate to add 2 different classes. We have 2 sections of automotive technician courses at Ronan through the Charter Academy. Through that program, we are partnering with Ford Motor Company and with the Boys and Girls Club. The Boys and Girls Club is allowing us to use their auto body shop where the actual hands-on learning can occur. They've been very gracious in having vehicles and other things like that for us to work on. They've allowed us to use some of their tools as we build towards that. So through that, we also partner with Ford Motor Company. They've provided a free curriculum through Ford for our students that they can complete along with their hands-on activities. It's called the Ford ACES program. These students actually are gaining real-time certification through that program that they may take if they want to move on with the Ford Motor Company. They transition with them. If they'd like to go to a 2-year career and technical education school, those follow them for some of those programs as well. So it's a very cool opportunity for them. We also added a small engines class for our middle school kids. They're having a wonderful time. Some of our kids straight reported from some parents who have, in their words, never felt smart in school, always felt stupid in school. This is the time that they're in school for 2 periods out of the day that they can utilize some skills that have never been recognized in the school setting before. And that's just it's been wonderful to hear. And along with that, we've heard some of the same things Ms. Beal and Mr. Johnston had heard some things at a chamber meeting in regards to a student who never wanted to attend school. It was a fight to get him to go to school every day. And now he gets to go and start in the morning with auto mechanics classes, and it's changed the entire ballgame. So those are some of the opportunities that we're providing. I do have some enrollment numbers that I can share with you. Sorry, I thought I had a table or something. So we actually have 2 charter schools. Our charter schools are separated by a middle school charter school and a high school charter school. Our middle school charter school only has 7th and 8th grade students. High school is grades 9 through 12. In the middle school, we currently have 26 students. Of those students, I know this is a question that is probably going to be asked. 15 of those are tribal students. In the high school charter academy, we have 49 total students. I'm sorry, I have to do some math. 21 of those at this point are tribal. So our percentage of tribal students in the charter schools is lower than what you would see in our buildings. I had spoken to Michelle about this. That number is rising. What I attribute that to is the way we rolled this out in the fall, which I would do differently had I known how this whole thing works. We're very much learning. We really pushed out to homeschool families to try to include them in the education and tried to make that our first priority to bring those kids in. We were afraid that if we opened the remote learning to students in our buildings, that we would be removing so many students from the infrastructure that would be damaging programs we already had. What we soon found out is that was not the case, and we are able to now, we've been actively pulling from our current population, which again is increasing that number of tribal students in our charter schools. So those are those numbers right there. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Hey, Doug.
Yeah, thank you. Is there a limitation on the number of students that are in the charter school?
In our complete charter school, no. I can see there being limitations. Right now, our automotive classes and our small engines classes are not completely full. If we do get to a point where that threshold is breached, and we have too many, let's say, to safely fit into the shops, then we go into a lottery system where kids are put into a random lottery and we choose from there who would be able to take those courses.
So Josh, how does that funding match? I mean, you're funded for a public charter school within the school. I mean, how's that head count work with the basic funding from the state for your regular school students? You talked about you don't want to take away. You're really trying to attract those kids back from private homeschooling. Describe that conflict from the in-house population and how your funding is.
Yeah, well, I really hope I don't mess this up. So number one, with being approved for a public charter school, we did receive some basic entitlement money from the state. So that comes separately from the A and B calculation. For the students who are shared between the 2 schools, essentially what happens is depending on how many class periods they're in the charter school, compared to how many periods they're inside the, let's say the high school, the A and B is split between the high school and the charter school. So if I have a kid that's taking only 6 courses at the time, 3 are in the charter school and 3 are at the high school would get 50% of that A and B, and the charter school would get 50% of that A and B. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, one last question. In regard to, like, say, the Ford program that you described, if we look at our local community and look at jobs that are needed, you know, vocational or whatever, have you gone out and tried to recruit those work sites?
So at this point, the holdup for me is where I know our high school is already working with multiple employers to find internships and things of that sort for students. So they're already on that part of it. The holdup for me right now is finding we need to add some education along with that. So we want to be able to send kids to these internships with some kind of skill, or being able to actually, you know, perform in that setting. I really, really hope pie in the sky that at some point we have more facilities and more staff that are able to teach things more specific to the trade. When we can do that, then I'd be far more comfortable getting out there and talking to employers and finding the right match.
Well, I know that I think when Ronan came up with this, you know, going to go after the charter school thing, I wasn't terribly sure about it. It looked like something that was really needed, or a creative way to help with keeping kids and keep the population and keep public schools alive so we don't fade away into private schooling. I compliment you on this. I compliment you, and I would look forward to, if other schools aren't doing it, they should, because I think that it meets a lot of unmet needs in the community, especially the youth. So it provides more diversity and more opportunities. So congratulations.
Thank you for that. And if I may add one last thing, we actually just purchased some land. The field, Mr. Johnson worked on that deal to build an extra building. Inside that building, the hope is that we can hold some sort of alternative education setting where we've got some kids who are just not comfortable being in the school building whatsoever, or they need a shortened day, but they still need that help. So the intention of that new addition to the charter school would be to target those kids who are struggling and need a smaller setting, need an alternate placement. So that's on its way as well.
Any other question?
Thank you for your time.
All right, I thought that was a trash can. I didn't want to end up in it. That'd be entertaining though. Yeah, so the Montana Board of Public Education, I don't know how often they visit schools. It doesn't sound like too often, so we are honored to host them. When I heard that they were heading this direction, I said, absolutely, we need to come to the tribal complex to meet tribal council because of the importance and the relationship that we all share within educating our students. It's a really exciting opportunity. You know, we are trying to be very innovative with the charter program. I've been talking to Carrie Antoine about extending into CSKT early childhood services and working with our kids, trying to get them certified in that, especially because the building is so close to ours as well. And so we're just really excited about the opportunity and what the future holds for us. And I certainly want to open it up to if anybody from the Montana Board of Public Education would like to talk. That would be.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, members of the council, my name is Tim Tharp, last name Tharp. I am the chairman of the Montana Board of Education. And it's an honor to be able to be with you here. And as Ms. Beal shared, we try to get out into our schools as often as we can. I just shared this morning, one of the things I'm most proud of is the fact that we do focus on now moving some of our meetings out and getting out of Helena and getting into our schools as much as possible. And this meeting that we have in March is one of our identified months where we travel. In September, we're going the opposite direction, going all the way over. We're going to be meeting at Glendive at Dawson County High School. So we try to get out and get into our schools. One of the great things we see about the charter schools is that if we continue to educate children the same way we always have, we're preparing them for the world of yesterday. And that's not what we live in. But then the struggle that we face is how do we balance that need to prepare students for tomorrow while still honoring our heritage and our traditions and our values, which is why I think it's so important that we continue to work with the tribes and work with our neighbors. Many of us in the room here were together in Albuquerque, where we worked with and saw how they communicate back and forth with a lot of programs within their schools and in their communities, and these partnerships in the communities, and they call them community schools. And it's a badge of honor that they have, that they are working formally with their communities. And those are things that we have to continue to do, because these are your kids. These are your schools, and these are your students, and you want to prepare them to come back here. The question that was asked earlier, what about, it's great working with Ford, but what about the other local vendors? How can we prepare students to work with them? And that's something I see great about the charter schools. It allows that flexibility for you to be able to design what is going to be best for your students, because nobody knows your students better than you in your own communities. And the board based out of Helena, even with made up of educators and other people from all over the state, we can't tell you what's best for students in Ronan. But when we have people from Ronan come to us with a charter school proposal and say, this is what we want to do, can you fund this, can you approve this? That's something I'm very honored that we are able to do that, because it allows for those partnerships. It allows for those ideas and innovations that may not be able to be done within the current charter system or the current public school system. So we thank you for that opportunity to be here.
Tom, go ahead.
Just one question for the board. And as far as, charters, public charter schools, and how does that reflect Indian education for all parameters?
As far as numbers, you say?
Well, as far as, what the content of the education and making sure you're compliant with.
IFA is embedded in the 1972 Constitution, and it is a key part of everything that is done. And we are unique in the country. We travel around and we hear from other states, and they say they have Indian Ed, and we look at it and say, yeah, you think you have Indian Ed for all. You don't have anything like what we have, and that's something that's a key part of it. Our charter schools are required to do all of that same work as the regular public schools do as well. They are expected to embed that into their curriculum and follow all of those curriculum content standards that every one of our other public schools is required to do. And I find that some of our charter schools might even be able to do that at a higher level, especially with the opportunities that they may have to focus on local desires.
Oh, so one of the unique things about the Ronan school system, being a person who grew up in Ronan and my dad was an administrator there, is that through a grant, through the creative thinking of administration at Ronan school system, we were able to acquire a grant to do cultural, historical education and content. And that was the origin of our culture committees that we have today. And so it was really important that the school partnered with us and was able to facilitate that, because I can't, now thinking back, and I remember when Mr. Whalett and Mr. McDonald worked on that grant, thinking about it, and I was a school student, but it was interesting to me because we were struggling trying to have native language in the school. I had one instructor. And so that just added that ability to have curriculum that was appropriate and local curriculum that was generated by us, and not something about Native Americans that was written by some author back in New Hampshire. And so it was really, really critical for us. And so that was really important. And then, for the school systems failing every student, that's why we have Twiga River School across the highway, because local schools were failing to meet the needs of our tribal students, and they were falling through the cracks. And so it was really critical to have that alternative type school setting. And it's really paid off for us. And so I look at the charter school system that you're engaged in here and providing for all the schools in Montana, particularly in reservation communities, as doing just that same thing. So appreciate it.
Michelle?
I have two questions. The first one is, how many charter schools were approved in Montana on Indian reservations?
Referring to our executive director, McCall Flint, she believes two of them, Ronan and Hardin.
Okay. Is it possible for a tribe in Montana to open a charter school?
The provisions for opening the public charter schools, we have not gotten any that are open up as separate from a school district. The easiest process is to be partnering with through the local school district. However, there are provisions for other entities to be able to go around that. There are also the community choice schools, which is, when the legislature first passed charter, they approved two different parallel tracks, and that one is still tied up in the courts right now. They have the Community Schools Commission. They've been doing all sorts of work and preparation, and they're just waiting for the green light from the courts in order to proceed. And that, to me, in my perspective, is, I'm not speaking for the board in this, but my perspective is that would seem to be an easier approach for a private entity not connected to the schools. The public schools, public charter schools that run through us, every one of them have partnered with and worked within, coming from that public school entity, and they have to report back to their own locally elected trustees. We did have one application that came through at one point, and it did not meet approval, but that was one that individual private entity tried to do it within the confines, and that quite honestly is quite complex.
Thank you, Michelle. Mr. Thorpe, if you would you introduce the rest of your board or let them introduce themselves?
Board members, please come forward. My vice chairs, Dr. Slinger, and the other board members, please get up behind him.
Thank you so much for letting us be here. My name is Ron Slinger. My day job is I'm actually president of Miles Community College. So it's wonderful to be here. It's my first time in Ronan. Lovely area, and really enjoying so far meeting the school board and administration for Ronan. It's such an honor to meet all of you, and I look forward to the touring of the schools later today. So thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is Renee Rasmussen. I'm a retired superintendent, so my current job is being retired. It takes all my time. It's a pleasure to be here in this building. This is great. It was really wonderful last night to be able to visit with some of the members of the school board and members of your administration, et cetera. Out of the golf course, we had some great conversation. You have good people here, really good people who really care.
My name is Julia Maxwell. I am a board member for the Board of Public Ed. I'm also currently the superintendent principal of Marion, just right up the road here a ways. My first interaction with people from Ronan actually was when we played the middle school basketball tournament in Lakeside last year. And the best part was there were some wonderful ladies sitting in front from Ronan. We don't normally get to play each other because we're too far away. But they were cheering, and they were cheering for everyone. And I stopped and said, it's amazing that you're sitting here cheering for both sides because that's not super typical. And they said, that's just what we do in Ronan.
I'm Lisa Schmidt. I'm from Conrad. I raise cattle and sheep for my day job. I have not ever been a traditional teacher, but I've been involved in a lot of non-traditional education. And so charter schools are very close to my heart because I would like to see every student educated to their most potential. And I think there's lots of ways to do that. So we really, I really appreciate being here. And I think I can speak for the rest of the board members to say thank you so much for hosting us. We look forward to learning a lot from you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the council. My name is Angela McLean, and I am the Director of American Indian and Minority Achievement and K-12 Partnerships for the Montana University System, Office of the Commissioner of Higher Education. And we are ex officio members of the Board of Public Education. And I want to thank you for this great honor to be before you this morning. I started my teaching career in our Lee over 30 years ago, and Martin Charlo was one of my former students. And so you can tell him that I was taking attendance and noted his absence. It is indeed a privilege to be here with all of you, and I want to indicate that we're doing all we can in the Montana University system to continue to support more American Indian students now than ever before. In fact, we continue to post record American Indian student enrollment gains. Additionally, this year again, we posted record American Indian student retention gains across the Montana University system. And so it is indeed a priority of our office and of the Montana University System Board of Regents, but we're not doing it alone. We know that we are doing it in partnership with each and every one of you across each of the tribal governments across the state. So we thank you for that partnership, And thank you one more time for having us here today.
Good morning. My name is Tyler Capice. I am the Assistant Deputy Superintendent at the Office of Public Instruction. State Superintendent Headland also serves as an ex officio member of the Board of Public Education. She'll regret not being here today with you all. This is something of the utmost importance to her. We are very proud of our Indian Education for All unit and our Tribal Student Achievement unit. Our Indian Education for All conference is next week in East Helena. We hope to see some of you there and hope to see educators across your reservation there. And then our RISE, our Resilience and Something Else student youth panel is flourishing, and their conference will be in April in Bozeman. I personally also serve as the superintendent's liaison to the MACI board, the Montana Advisory Council on Indian Education. I'm a former educator, and Indian Education for All is something of the utmost importance to me as well. So we're glad to be here today, and thank you so much for the work that you do here with your students.
The governor's office is also an ex officio member of our board, and they regularly give reports and attend our meetings. And we have another board member who is not with us at this time. Dr. Hannah Neeskens is the superintendent of schools in Whitehall. And so we represent people from all over the state, from all the way from Marion all the way to where I live in Savage, which is a stone's throw from North Dakota. And my background is I'm a retired school administrator. I served as a deputy state superintendent about 10 years ago, and now serve as a Richland County superintendent of schools. But I'm feeling the pull to get back in, and I'll be interviewing next week for a superintendent position in Sydney. So this desire to work in education and support our students, and I really have a passion to see the work that we've done be put into place and how we can see that. The Board of Public Ed is not something that I was very well aware of prior to my time working at the OPI. I don't think a lot of our teachers across the state really understand who we are and what we do. But we are also the smallest state agency, and which is kind of intimidating with the work that we do. And when we run into legislators, they often are very surprised, especially first-term legislators. They think that we're some large group, but we are very small but very mighty. And I want our executive director to come forward and have McCall Flynn talk to you.
Hi, thank you guys so much for having us. I'm McCall Flynn. I'm the executive director at the Board of Public Ed. And yes, we are a small but mighty team. My other coworkers are not here because they are getting us lunch back for our meeting. So thank you guys again for having us here today. It's an honor. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, do you have any other questions or anything for us?
Other questions? Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I just want to thank all of you for being here this morning into the lunch hour. And I just want to share with you my personal perspectives about where we're at. In 1976, I was working in all of the public school systems here in the reservation area, trying to get Indian education programs accepted. Okay. At that time, and keep in mind, this was just a few years after Rick Shampoo from the Flathead Valley, just north of us, made that speech at the Montana Constitutional Convention that kind of laid the groundwork for a lot of the Indian education momentum that's been built. The momentum wasn't there in 1976, and it was just difficult to get Indian education in the school systems because it was viewed as discriminatory against non-tribal students. So we have come a long way, and that's in part due to the work that you've done. Just having you here and visiting with us this morning was something that was never dreamed of 50 years ago. So I'm just happy to see this take place, and kind of nice to reflect on how much ground has been covered in 50 years. And I think about how far we have to go, and we got a good start. So thank you all.
Thank you, because we still have a long ways to go with that. And there's many of our schools across the state that struggle to be able to collaborate with local tribes. Even with the tribes and the reservations spread out across Montana, there's still places that are a long ways away. And trying to form those relationships and those connections. I mean, I look at the connection that's right here between the tribe and the local school districts. And that's something that I looked at in my career it just didn't have available all the time. When I served in schools that were closer to the reservations, it was a little bit easier, but sometimes it's really difficult for those other schools, and trying to come up with these cooperative efforts to serve everybody and recognize the Constitution applies to everybody across the state, not just the reservation schools, not just those close to the reservations. It's every student is supposed to receive this instruction. And how do we do that appropriately and with fidelity? And that's always the struggle that we face, and we continue to work on that.
I've always looked at Indian education for all being more important being taught to the non-tribal students, to tell you the truth. So yes, thank you so much for visiting today. And
thank you for your time and
very
best
good to
wishes
meet
on
you
your
all.
work.
Holly, how long will your issue take? We maybe jump her in front of you, Greg. Get
My
Tom and
stuff
Greg.
would
We gotta
probably
get
be
Tom
about,
and Greg.
about-
Greg's behind you, okay?
I think
Tell
just
him
a
back
couple
up, jump
minutes
in
and
there.
then, yeah. Okay. Thanks. Okay. So my stuff should be pretty quick, but then Mark had two things that aren't scheduled that should be hopefully pretty quick. I think he just wanted some. Is he now? Okay. Just you guys today?
Yeah, Holly, before we get started here, can we get you to send us a list of the trust properties that have been offered to the council?
Yep, I was already gonna bring it in on line committee, but I think we talked this morning about it too, and I'm just gonna schedule that as a separate discussion to bring into you guys.
Yeah.
To show you what you've shown interest in, what's kind of hanging out there, how the acquisition budget is looking over the next couple of years. So when we bring in other properties or late fee properties, you guys will kind of know what that looks like.
All right, thanks, Holly.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To Holly, yesterday I tried to send you a text, but evidently it didn't go through. But,
Yeah, it's like I got your voicemail.
The gentleman I trying to let you know that we had that land for sale up there on the West Shore. His name is Dan.
Yeah, I did get your voicemail last night on my cell phone, and then he ended up coming in this morning.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah.
He said he was going to.
Yeah. So he came in, and then that one, he's got 120 acres of fee property. There's another individual that wants to buy the house and 30 acres, but it's kind of tied to if the tribe wants to buy the other 90. But I'll bring that in. So I'm working on that. Okay. So today, I was just coming in to get approval of some resolutions for our land acquisitions. We have for allotment 1850. We got a resolution for Cheryl Munkers, Donald Matt, and Chuck Matt's 1/3 interest.
Motion by Lynn to approve the resolution. Second by Tom. All in favor? Who do we have online now?
Yes.
Thank you, James. I don't see Jamie anymore. Okay. Go ahead with your next one.
And then the next one is for Jean Matt for his 1/30 interest in allotment 3014.
Motion by Lynn, second by Tom. All in favor?
Yes.
Unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, and my last one is for a resolution for Jean Matt for purchasing his 1/30 interest in allotment 3014A.
Motion by Lynn, second by Tom. All in favor?
Yes.
Unanimous. Mark, your other two issues take a while, or?
I told him we'd be quick. Or
Just needed a quick update to see if council got the email about the counter offer that came back on the South Rodan property. Was discussed to them about the terms of the.
Should this be an executive?
That, if you guys want to.
We will go out of regular into executive. We're in open. Thank you, Greg.
I'm happy to be flexible. Good morning, all. So I have two matters this morning. The first one is a letter and resolution for the request to reimburse the tribes for the expenses associated with the first quarter of the fiscal year's water compact activities. We typically bring these to council on a quarterly basis. It allows the water compact to distribute back to the tribes money that's been spent to carry out these activities.
Motion by Tom, second by Danielle. All in favor? We're unanimous.
Thank you all. Second matter is pertinent to the general welfare exclusion. The attached policy will be GWE 001. We've worked closely with Dana Jackson in the legal department to review the pertinent sections of both the Constitution and the bylaws, as well as the CFRs that outline the tribe's capacity to create this authority. In the first part, we talk about where the authority comes from. The purpose of it is to identify the tribe's framework for developing what is and is not taxable. And the policy is that according to the rule, the tribes will exempt from ordinary income tax subject to the GWE programmatic. These are the definitions that come to us from the law. And then we further continue down to describe culturally specific language or history keeping and education as defined as exempt. We then further describe limits relative or define the term extravagant as being 50% of the median of the average wage earned by Montanans, and we reference the 2025 Montana Department of Labor and Industry Labor Day report. So we have something that we can point to, and as or if that changes, we can redefine what extravagant is. So that puts the limit for any specific financial support at 30,018 and a half. Policy then goes on to read that it's not construed to be individual tax advice and does not impact earnings that are made as employees of the organization. And we've described the procedure here as how central accounting will enforce that, how they'll be able to review and act. And as this changes and gets more definition, they can move forward in that area. I've also checked with central accounting. We have the ability to turn on and turn off the taxable nature of income consistent with this framework and rule.
Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Greg, for working on this and getting something together that meets the basic parameters of the new regulations. Just one stupid question. If the Career Elderly program is getting firewood, that individual person getting the firewood that they're hired, are they going to be exempt with this?
Are we talking about this staff that we've called as woodcutters? So currently, if woodcutters are employed under a temporary employment agreement, and if they're paid through ADP, we consider that a taxable wage. So that anything that's processed through the income function of the organization through ADP appears taxable. I can find out if there is an alternate way of contracting with those woodcutters to put them into a different area, but certainly we can explore that.
I know in my discussion with other tribes, their woodcutters are exempt under their provisions, the way they work on it. So I'm just using it as one example. So there's another way to skin the cat by a contract employee versus a direct employee, and then I would hope we would pursue that so they don't. That has always been one of the limiting factors for getting woodcutters, is they don't want to have to deal with the taxes and that because it's within the parameters of cultural, wood, providing wood for elders or other people, absolutely cultural. So I just felt like, wow, is there some way that we can make sure that happens? Anyway, I appreciate it. And so we can amend this at any time?
That's correct.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by Tom to approve the resolution establishing a new policy for the general welfare exclusion. Second by Bing. All in favor? Oh, question. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I understand that anything not included in here, we can always add later.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The design is to have, so the discussion with legal was, does this need to be an ordinance, a resolution, or a policy and procedure. They said not an ordinance, but this should be a policy and procedure of how central accounting treats taxable events. The second conversation was around creating the framework that can be referenced from time to time as our guideposts in which we will operate. And legal's opinion is supported by this document that says we adopt the resolution and the framework. We can change either from time to time. In prior iterations, council has authorized the Director of Financial Management and my shop to make changes to policy and procedure that only affect our accounting structure or adapting to GASB, or that are things that are limited to the financial function. Because this impacts members, because this is more broad, it's the reason we're bringing the policy in the resolution format to you all.
All in favor? We're unanimous. I guess the one question I have is, this is dealing with general welfare, and so should not affect any consideration of income from trust assets, which is already not taxable, right? And so that hopefully doesn't muddy water in any way there.
We were silent on that, I think intentionally, as not to reference something outside of what the IRS ruling implied. We didn't want to attach this document or the policy to anything else outside of that.
Oh, I totally agree. The question I have is, if the IRS was to come along and say, oh, this is all they want, we don't have to do the rest of that anymore. See this as if it was the all-inclusive list of what was not to be taxed, and I don't want it to be that.
I'll take your feedback back to legal to get their opinion to see if there needs to be a sentence referencing it.
Yeah, and I'm very much on board with not rocking the boat.
Anything else for me this morning?
Unless you have something.
I'd love to have maybe a few minutes of conversation to kind of update you on the conversation I had from this morning. And if you'd like to do that in executive, I'm happy to do that about the conversation from the walk-in.
Go ahead, Danielle.
Sorry, Greg. You sent it to me last year. I need it again this year because I can't find it in my emails, but the tax ideas, we're starting to look for donations for our annual MMIP 5K. That's coming up soon. So you'll send that. The team is working on getting donations and getting a save the date out for it.
The tax letters and the template for receipts?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I know they're in my email somewhere. I've dug and I just, can't find them. I'm sorry.
I'll take care of that.
We will go out of regular into executive.
Thank you.
In progress. Were we not in recording before?
Ready? Okay.
I don't know. Ready, Hilda. I'm gonna wait and ask Jennifer. Jennifer, when you left, it said recording in progress. Entertain a motion for shoreline protection. Motion by Tom to accept the balloting and appoint Mark McDonald, Shoreline Protection Board. Second by Bing. All in favor? Unanimous. There's CSKT College. Motion by Danielle to accept the balloting and install Elijah Cahoon in the position at CSKT College Board. Second by Len. All in favor? We're unanimous. And for the Housing Board, motion by Tom to accept the balloting of Carrie and Melanie for the two positions at the Housing Board. Second by Danielle, all in favor? And we're unanimous. Thanks, Mel. That's our agenda.